If you're a man over 35 and you've been training for years, but your body basically looks the same and you're waking up every morning looking at yourself in the mirror wondering what the hell has it all been for, then this video is for you and it's gonna sting a little bit. I'm gonna show you today why you may well have been wasting your time and energy through poor quality training, but more importantly, I'm gonna show you exactly how you should be lifting weights to build muscle fast, regardless of your age. Now, you may well be thinking, who is this guy talking about building muscle as an older man? And I get it, I'm only 32. But over the past decade, I've coached close to 2,000 men to get into the best physical and mental shape of their lives. Men like Martin at 65, Sean at 51, and Dale at 40. And everything I'm gonna show you today is the exact framework that we've used with all of these guys to get these results. So if you're ready to stop wasting time grinding away in the gym day after day for little to no return, then stay tuned because I'm gonna show you the exact framework you need to follow to explode results with your muscle growth. Most men don't fail to build muscle because they don't train hard enough. They fail because their training lacks quality, intent, tension, and precision. Look, you can spend 5, 6, 7 hours a week in the gym and still see no change at all because you're giving your body zero reason to grow. And this is what so many men are doing. Muscle doesn't just respond to effort. That matters, of course, and we'll talk about that later, but there's way more to it than that. Muscle responds to specific mechanical signals. So let's break those down. The biggest mistake I see in men over 35 is walking into the gym without a clear plan and moving weight around with no real intent or focus. You may be moving the weight, but your nervous system is not primed to attack the session. You're moving weights around without maximizing muscle contractions. Muscle growth requires neural drive. That means your brain must know exactly what it's about to do before you do it. Instead of just moving weight, you should be thinking about how you're contracting the target muscle that's under load. Same movement, but a totally different outcome. This level of intent increases motor unit recruitment, meaning you get stronger contractions because more high threshold fibers are activated. More muscle fibers recruited equals more muscle growth. In a study on resistance trained men performing bench press, when subjects were instructed to focus on contracting the target muscle with their mind rather than simply moving the load from A to B, muscle activation in the chest and the triceps was significantly higher, meaning they're going to build more muscle. This shows that your brain can enhance the neural connection and signal going to the muscle just by directing attention and intention to it during the lift. You may well have heard of this called the muscle to mind connection, and it's one of the most important drivers of hypertrophy. So make sure you're entering the gym with a clear plan and giving it 100% intent to every set and every rep. When you're lifting weights, you almost want to forget about the load in your hand and focus only on the muscle here. So rather than thinking about moving the load, you're thinking about how can I contract the target muscle as hard as possible. And by doing that, you're gonna contract the muscle harder and you're gonna get more muscle growth. The next thing we need to think about is active range versus the full range of movement. This one confuses people a lot because most people are told to lift within the full range of movement, which is actually wrong when it comes to muscle growth, because what we find with the full range is at the bottom, if we are going too deeply into a stretch here, the muscle will actually lose tension. And at the top of the movement, we'll also lose tension because we'll overextend and we'll compromise the joint position. So then what you do is you end up engaging muscles that shouldn't really be worked within that movement, and you're constantly losing tension in the target muscles that you're trying to work. This constant loss of tension through the movement is going to massively impact the rate at which you build muscle. What we need to focus on instead is working within your active range, which is going to be completely unique to you, and you're going to need to find what your individual active range is for each movement. And here's how you're going to do it. So the top of the movement is going to be where the muscle contracts hard. It's hardest, it's the peak contraction. So for the chest press here, we can see that the chest here is at peak contraction. As long as he's keeping the intent on that, that should be nice and solid here. Now, as he goes down, he needs to be quite controlled, and he's going to find where the Stretch will initiate, not exhaust. If it goes too deep again, the muscle's going to switch off. So we need to go to a point of where we feel the stretch in the chest initiating but not exhausting. From there, we're then going to pause and then we're going to contract all the way up. And by doing it like this, we're working within the range that you can still keep maximal tension on the muscle, and then you should have a full set where the tension maintains throughout it, and this is absolutely ideal for building muscle. Next, we need to think about progressive overload. Now, every coach and his dog is talking about progressive overload, and for good reason. Once the foundations are in, like we've already spoken about, it becomes the primary driver of muscle growth. But progressive overload isn't just about adding more weight. You can achieve this by increasing the load, adding reps, slowing the tempo, reducing your rest, controlling the movement more, or extending the range in some cases. But yes, load matters the most because it increases what is called mechanical tension. But chasing weight at the expense of form is not what you want to do. In fact, if your form changes to lift a heavier weight, that's actually not progressive overload at all. It's actually going to reduce the stimulus on the muscle because you're starting to compensate using other muscles to support the lift, and it's going to open you up to injury risk. So always remember, form first, progression comes second. Stay consistent with sessions, track your numbers, progress variables weekly. Do not change your workouts every week. That completely kills progress. Next, we need to think about technical failure versus mechanical failure. To build muscle, you must challenge the body. That's the bottom line. That means pushing yourself close to, or actually to, failure. But there are two types of failure, and this is something guys often miss. We have what is called mechanical failure. This is where you physically cannot move the weight anymore and form has already broken down. Then we have technical failure, the last rep you can perform with perfect execution and control of the weight. Mechanical failure increases injury risk and reduces stimulus quality because you are constantly losing tension of the muscle and you're recruiting other muscles to compensate for the movement. Technical failure gives you the growth signal without the risk and without the damage to the joints. So you want to push hard but stop the moment the form breaks down. So with this particular movement, we need to make sure we're completely stable and locked in, working within the active range, and we want to maintain perfect form throughout, where we're in control of the weight and we're not kind of rocking our body at all or compromising the spine or shoulders. As we start to get past the point of technical failure and more towards mechanical failure, what may well happen is we'll start to round our shoulders forward. As we pull, we're maybe not getting as far down, or we are pulling the weight down aggressively and losing tension. And it's at that point that you notice the form has changed, that you've actually gone past the point of technical failure and more towards mechanical failure, which is not what we want. Next, we need to think about resting between sets. This is so underrated, but so many guys destroy their gains by not resting properly. You're not in the gym to burn calories. You're there to build muscle and get stronger. Rest is what allows you to lift with intensity and precision when you go back into your set. If you're doing burpees or hill climbers or any other cardiovascular exercise in your rest periods, you're killing your results because you won't have as much energy to put into the workout. What you need to do is rest for 90 seconds to 3 minutes between sets. If you can't sit still, just walk lightly, nothing more. Finally, we need to think about static stretching to the muscle that we've just worked post-workout. Long duration static stretching like this after training is going to help improve blood flow, improve tissue quality, it reduces chronic tone, and it's going to improve recovery and the range of movement later down the line. Overly tight muscles contract far worse, and you'll often find that people who have tight muscles feel like they cannot activate the tissue properly when they're working out. So what you want to do is make sure you stretch the muscles that you've trained for 90 seconds to 2 minutes after you've trained them. Make the stretches uncomfortable but not agonizing. If you take into account everything I've said and you train like this, your results will skyrocket. But here's the truth. You can train perfectly, but if you're not sleeping properly, if you're under eating protein, if you've got gut issues, high inflammation or low testosterone, or chronic stress, your body will choose survival over muscle growth. Remember, training is the signal. Recovery, sleep, nutrients, and hormones turn that signal into growth. So if you're a man over 35 and you want to build muscle without breaking your body, this is the standard that you need to train to. If this has helped you, please hit subscribe and go to the next video where I break down how you can optimize your natural testosterone levels from the inside out.